All right, in this video, we're going to add a controller to our form that we created in the last video. But before we get started, I want to preview this file. Now, I haven't saved this file anywhere yet. So let me go to, let's save it. Do a save as. I'm going to, on my desktop, I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to say new folder. And I'll call it form demo folder. And I will save my file in there. I'm going to go ahead and just call it form demo.html, not from demo, do form demo. And I'm going to hit save. Okay, and I've saved it. And now I can go out if I want to. I can go out to my desktop. And I can go find my form demo folder, and I can double click that file, and it's going to open in my default browser. And we can see that there's nothing on it. If I right click and say view page source, we can see the source code that we wrote, okay, in our blank form. So we don't see anything because our form doesn't have anything on it. But it's kind of a pain to do that. So I want to show you another extension. So let's go up here. Again, I'm on my extensions tab. Here's our folders. We don't technically have a folder open yet. Here's our extensions tab. Let's do open in browser. And you can see that there's several different plugins, extensions that we can get for Visual Studio. But we're going to get this one. 5.3 million people have used it, as opposed to like 96,000 for that one, 395. So this open in browser here, made by TechER, is a pretty popular one. We're going to get that, and we're just going to click install. So it's installed now in Visual Studio Code for us. So now what I can do to save myself a little time is I can come over to my form, and I can right click on it, and I can say open in default browser, or I could just press Alt B, or I can even say open in other browsers. I'm going to say open in default browser, and it opened up in my default browser for my system. Okay, and again, it's blank right now. So that's a little bit, it saves us a little step. We can just right click anywhere in our code, open in other browsers. I want to open Google Chrome. And it popped open in Google Chrome. If I wanted to test it in another browser, I could. That's a little bit faster than going through our File Explorer and finding our folder and double clicking it and all those things. All right, so let's actually make a small form. I put something on this email form that we said we were going to make. So we have to have a way to put controls on our form. I am going to tab in here. I'm inside my form. Let's do a paragraph. I am going to try and use Emmet for this. Oh, look at that. An Emmet abbreviation for a paragraph. And if I just hit tab, it completes my opening and closing tag for my paragraph. And I have a place to type. Let's put, please enter your email address to subscribe. So I just created a paragraph there using Emmet, and I'm going to create another paragraph. Hitting P and tab saves me a little bit of time, and I'm going to say email colon, and then right here is where I want to put, oops, I mistyped email. Right here is where I want to put a field of some kind, a text box. We've been programming in C#. If you're in one of my courses, you're programming in C#. We're going to put a text box control where people can type some text. So to do that in HTML, it's actually called an input. So forms have different types of input controls. So if I type input here, Emmet gives me an abbreviation option, and it has all these different types of inputs we can use. And the first one we're going to learn is just text. So I want to have a spot where somebody can input text. So I can come down here and click on this. I'm going to do that. And it says input. And it has type equals text. So inputs always need us to specify what type of input they're going to be. We can give them a name if we want to. Maybe I'll name this email. And we can give it an ID if we want. A lot of times our name and our IDs will match, so I'll call that email as well. Okay. And these are properties of this text field that will be used in some of our later code. We might have to look up our form by ID. We might have something in our script that looks at the name. But these are options that we can always put. So this is a text input. And I will end it there. And we probably need a way for the person to actually submit it. So let's do another paragraph. And we will put another input. And I want to use a submit. So this will be a submit button. I'll come down here to submit. And value equals, let's do subscribe. ID, we don't have an ID here. Let's add an ID. Got my quotation marks. I like my code well formatted. Let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to hit Control S on my keyboard to save it. I want to right click on this and say open in my default browser. And here we go. It opened up in my default browser. I have dual monitors, so it opens on the other screen for me. And we see I misspelled subscribe there in my code, but please enter your email address to subscribe. Our second paragraph said email, and there's our text input where I can type an address. me@mydomain.com. Okay, and our subscribe button is our second input. When I click it, it doesn't do anything. It tried to call that PHP script on my server, which I don't have. But that's okay. We're not really learning how to process scripts yet. We're just learning how to do the forms.